Hello old-timers and newcomers, I am Core Scratches, and thank you for joining me to take another look at what I found. Did you know those VPNs your favorite YouTubers are promoting to you are largely useless? Not only do VPN providers monitor and log your online activity, same as any internet provider, the entire principle behind them is a bit of a contradiction. You want a VPN so you can be safe online, so you don't have to worry online, so you can be careless online. Do you feel safe? If I were to click on your username right now, how long would it take me to find you? How long would I need to go through your timelines, your feeds, your photos and videos? How long would I need to find out your home address? How long would it be before you feel my hand caress your cheek in the dark? I know you want me to. Why else would you make it so easy? You're spreading breadcrumbs all around you, begging for anyone to hear you, to see you, to love you. I heard you. I saw you. And I will save you. I will be all you need, and you will be my whole world. And you will stop inviting them in. All of those other people. Why don't you? You don't need them when you have me! And you will. Soon. I promise. Now let's watch Ratter.
Michael, Emma. What am I supposed to do?
Do not talk to her again. You do not know what I'm capable of.
I just feel like some freak.
Ratter is a 2015 thriller written and directed by Brandon Kramer, tackling the contemporary issue of online privacy and internet safety. An obscure netizen becomes obsessed with a young woman, and using her electronics he records her day and night. Putting us in his frame of reference, we're made observers as his obsession drives him closer and closer. Sounds good to me. So, let's take a look at Ratter and see cyberstalking gone too far. We open up to panties. And there is actually a lot of panty shots in this movie, but rest assured I will include every last one of them. This is Emma, played by Ashley Benson, who you may recognize from Pretty Little Liars, where she also dealt with an online stalker. I never watched the show, so to me she will forever be Qbert from Pixels. Like a lot of found footage films, the camera itself is left running with no thought put into what it's recording. It's a humble way of establishing this is real, but it's a bit contradictory considering an editor still picked and chose what to include in the movie, or there would be no jump cuts. Beyond that, try keeping in mind the camera isn't actually supposed to be recording. What we see is a deranged man peeking into her life without her even knowing he's there, and it adds this subsurface level of tension to what is otherwise a very pleasant and even boring everyday. In theory. Emma, it turns out, recently moved to New York from the Midwest and gives her daddy a quick tour of the place. Sure would be a shame if a stranger was listening in, but just because she's alone doesn't mean she has no one, family, friends, and a digital guardian angel going through her files and watching her as she sleeps. Okay, now he's just playing around. But good on him for cracking not just her computer, but her phone as well. He must be leet. The depiction of hacking in this film is a bit iffy. In theory, all of it is entirely possible. In fact, there are several remote desktop access programs that can do what you see here, even to Apple computers, but that's not what I have an issue with. A RAT, or a remote access tool, could be a simple Trojan that's been downloaded together with a, or in place of another program that you actually wanted, but malware is like a vampire, it needs to be invited in. And Apple computers are like spiders, cocooning every bug that they can find. Unless you jailbreak it. That is, you remove the iOS limitations and open up restricted ports, but to do that, you need the admin password, which it's possible for a hacker to get that using a dictionary attack tool, but to do that online, over Wi-Fi, without physically connecting the phone to your system? Yeah. By the time you would have gotten in, you will be fretting about dropping the soap. The next day... What? I'm trying to grow my channel here! Mayhaps I'm just another creep, peeking in on her living her life. But it's so hard to resist the peer pressure. She begs attention from every man, from her professor to her classmates.
I'm Michael, by the way.
Emma.
Played by John McGorry, who played John Bennett in Orange is the New Black. If I'd actually seen any of these shows, I would be very distracted. Much like Emma, who seems quite taken with this dashing young man, who promises to take her out and see the city.
Alright, well, I'll text you. What's your number?
608-473-4127.
Great.
Okay, I'm not the most social person in the world, but do normal people really just hand out their phone number to complete strangers? Or is this a subtle commentary about the willingness by which we give up our online privacy? Or are we just establishing it's entirely possible Emma herself jailbroke her phone? I mean, both smart and stupid people do that. But we haven't established our stalker is creepy enough yet, so he takes pictures of Emma's feet, and pictures of her when she sleeps, and records her playing Xbox Kinect. Okay, hacking that I can't believe. This movie would have made so much more sense if all of her stuff had been Microsoft.
This is huge for New York.
Movie moolah. You know, the kind of moolah that students in movies just have and is never explained because it'd be inconvenient. I mean, we don't want to find out our lead is actually a coke dealer. Wait a minute, yes we do, it would have made her far more interesting. Like all mousy girls, Emma has a fun friend. You know the fun friend, the one who drags our lead along to have a good time. This one's called Nicole and is played by Rebecca Jones, and she wants Emma to definitely go for Michael. But this conversation is boring, so the stalker interjects.
Too much porn, girl. That's what you get. No, but come on, seriously, what was that?
Oh, that was just the one guy who's making me want to watch you. Don't worry about it.
No, just the pad key now, please.
Okay, what's your address?
It's 854 Wilson Avenue, apartment 4A.
Which I looked up, and it does exist. In North York. In Canada. It's an Italian takeout, but never mind about that. The entire hook of this film is supposed to be how easy it is for deranged people to find whoever they want. That's done through detective work and online stalking. I realize you need to get the movie going, but you're kind of skipping past the point. It may have just been a lucky fluke, as our creeper thinks it's still too soon to meet. He's happy to watch her shave in the shower, dreaming of the day she will love him the way he loves her. 10 creepy points to the stalker. And his obsession grows as he wakes up and momentarily panics, finding her gone, flicking between the feeds to find her. Fine, I'll stop showing you in your underwear. And I promise if an attractive man starts dancing around in his underwear, I will include that too. Her mother, played by Kaylee Vanoff, reminds her to be careful with strangers before she goes on a date with Michael. This worries our main man so much he's afraid of losing her, so he sends her a present. A new razor to shave her legs.
No, I mean, there's nothing else in the box. There's no letter, no pamphlet, nothing. Am I crazy?
Not yet, but the movie isn't over. Receiving a strange gift with no return address or information, Emma does the logical thing and uses it to shave her legs in view of her computer where the moisture from the shower can break the electronics, making me scream internally. so that the creeper can take photos of her feet. At this point, I don't blame him for deluding himself they're in a relationship.
We're only 20 minutes in, by the way.
In large part, this is what the movie is. Emma is simply living her life and the stalker reacts to it and occasionally interrupts it. It doesn't have a plot, or even much of a story beyond that. And in that sense, it's got found footage realism going for it. Despite the editing and the Hollywood hacking. And it can get pretty uncomfortable watching it all play out from the stalker's perspective, but it does make my job more difficult because by itself Emma's life is pretty uninteresting. I'm not sure why this guy is stalking her. Again she sees Michael mere days apart when she should be with him. But it doesn't matter, Michael's nothing. Michael's a rebound, a tool to get over the last man who hurt her. Alex. The one who drove her away, who won't take the hint she doesn't want him. He still calls her, still harassing her, expecting to still be part of her life when she moved to get away from him.
So you moved to New York and just forget everything else? Okay, fine, I'll just fucking forget you too. Have a nice fucking life, Emma.
So mature.
Don't worry, sweet Emma. Your prince will remove him soon.
I want to hug you right now.
I know me.
I want to hug you right now. Hug you right now.
With a few button presses, Alex is a memory. All the photos of him and Michael are gone. They were a distraction, a thorny bramble keeping her from moving on. She wouldn't understand, but it's what's best for her, to move on and forget.
God, I have to change all of my passwords now.
No, don't shut him out. You can't. He'll be there for you. You need him, even if you don't know it. To be on the safe side, Emma has the MacBook examined, only the school computer lab doesn't find anything. Which is surprisingly possible. There is a computer virus called Rombertic that, when it's discovered, will have the computer sent into a reboot loop to avoid being examined. And there is another virus called Flame, which can be sent a kill command from, well, an operator somewhere. And what happens then is it will delete its own code and replace it with random data. Further on, it is possible for a computer virus to hide in the random access memory to avoid being discovered. So, all in all, it's entirely possible that when this guy's virus sensed it was being examined, it copied itself to the RAM, deleted itself, and avoided detection, and then when the computer was on again, the guy was up and running. I'm not saying that's likely, but this is set in a world where hackers can just enter MacBooks and iPhones at will, so... Emma continues to deepen her relationship with Michael, meeting his roommate and helping him with his homework. It doesn't go unnoticed by our potential paramour, still trying to win her favor by messaging her. How is she doing? All he wants is a response, is that too much? And still she chooses Michael! No. No, 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 no!
Maybe we should slow down. I don't want to, but I just...
No. It's not enough. He has to remind her he's still watching. Don't betray him again. Quick question, why would she go to bed and not already have the chain on the door? I mean, I know the chain is meaningless, but still. It's a new day with new chances, new opportunities awaiting, such as leading a program at the economy department. A terrific chance for her, but otherwise a boring day building frustration that needs to be relieved. But he's still there, right there with her. This emboldens him enough to go further. For her to be his, Michael needs to go. He breaks into Michael's email and sends Emma porn, followed by a video that by no means he should have had.
Okay, this is getting super weird. He just sent me a video of me from high school.
This I am not entirely sure how to interpret. At first it looks like he's trying to make Michael seem like a crazy stalker, scaring her away from him, but then he's reaching out to her and he sounds like he actually wants to talk to her. Like, for example, he says he's been wanting to talk to her for a very long time, so... But if that's what he was going for, why would he reach out through Michael's email, making her think it was Michael? No, I don't get this. I don't get this at all. Either way, it works. Michael swears up and down he didn't send her anything, and his email was hacked, but Emma becomes so creeped out she distances herself from him. Now it's just her and the man. The invisible presence in her life peeking in through the devices, screening calls from predator professors furthering her career, and watching her on the dance floor. He can tell how happy she is now, with only him in her life. But it's not enough. He must get closer. Coming home drunk with joy and alcohol, Emma spills some kebab on her dress, which only has one logical solution: to drop everything and walk around in her underwear. She's at home, and she thinks she's alone, so it doesn't seem too strange to me, but seeing her stripped down over one small stain, it reminds me of that scene in Halloween when Nancy Kies stripped down over one small stain. And that in turn makes me realize just how similar this movie is to Halloween. Which should tell you right there whether you would want to see it or not. Drunk, exhausted and happy, Emma falls asleep, assured that everything will be alright, as the shape watches her through the window. And somehow gets out of there without waking her up. Must have climbed down the building or something. But he's back in time to watch her pee. Tasteful. But a taste is not enough. That did not come out right! Now that he can enter her home, he almost doesn't want to leave. And in his exuberance he makes a mistake. He leaves the door open for Emma to find. And while at first she worries he's still there, he doesn't return until she's asleep, playing her music box for her. The next day, knocking sounds from the door, and while paranoia has gripped her, it turns out to only be Michael, bringing a present.
His name is Clover. Clover? When did you meet Emma?
Okay, as an animal lover, let me just say it is very careless to just give someone a pet that at no point they have shown any interest in getting. That's how a lot of pets end up abandoned by the roadside. Although, I suppose it is kind of sweet. I mean, I know from experience, pets helps you get out of your head, which is what you need when you're feeling terrible. Although, at the same time, it's a bit crazy for him to just give her a cat. I mean, they've barely known each other for a week. That is a very big commitment to just force on someone like that. But my overall question is, why establish a cat now? It's only about 20 minutes left in the movie. I mean, what's a cat supposed to do? Oh, Kramer, you cheap fuck! But it doesn't end there. Emma is in need of a distraction, which is exactly what a man doesn't want, and when he cuts the feed only to return to watch them have sex, all his chaotic passions of love, jealousy, loneliness and adoration congeal into fiery hate. No. No. He would never hurt her. She just needs to come to her senses. He will get her back. Soon. Very, very soon. She will be his again. See? I told you, chains are meaningless. No chain can bar destiny, and every barrier opens for love. It would be so easy to just grab her right now, leave and never come back. But no, not yet. He still has to wait. Why? Because he's angry, and he needs to let it out, but not against her. The next day when Michael calls, it's to tell Emma he's been getting threats. From his own email.
It says, do not talk to her again. You are nothing, you are nobody. You do not know what I'm capable of.
Calling the police is less than useful, as this is a movie and New York, and Emma is edging closer to the abyss. She doesn't feel safe in her own home. The man has begun systematically severing every sense of dependence in anything but him, and any connection to anyone else.
Clover?
And that's what I meant by cheap, as in cheap shock value. And after watching Capture Kill Release, it's not even that shocking anymore. I am actually downplaying a pet's death just because it wasn't on screen. I don't like this hobby anymore! Calling Michael, he won't answer the phone, no matter how many times she calls. And with no one else to turn to, Emma calls her parents. Looking for comfort, she also admits that she's being stalked. And immediately her parents are active, promising they will fly out there and find her a new apartment. No. No, they can't do that. Not now, not when she's his again. He can fix this. If only she'll answer, he can explain. He needed to get rid of the cat. He needed to get rid of Michael. She is his. He knows she'll forgive him. She just has to give him a chance.
I know it's you, you fucking freak.
But who is it? She still don't know. Could it be Alex? He says it's not, but it could be. Michael? Would he do this? His roommate? Her professor? Nicole? Who can she even trust anymore? She's more alone in this moment than she has been in her whole life.
Are you gonna be okay?
I don't know. I just feel like someone's watching me.
Hey, don't go around blaming the audience for the artist. Again she calls her mother, still waiting for Nicole to come keep her company. She can't sleep, she can't focus, she can't even stop crying. She's at the breaking point. Isolated, vulnerable. What better time to strike?
So,
Emma, what happened?
And this scene is pretty harrowing. The stalker pounces from the darkness, wrestling Emma to the floor. On the computer, her mother is frantically calling 911, but what can she do but watch? She's in Wisconsin and her baby is in New York. It's all she can do to scream and cry as the monster disables Emma, tying her up and gagging her. And hidden by the darkness, he confidently strides up to the computer. Even without his mask, he's hidden in the darkness, and he knows they will never find him.
Emma! Oh God, tell me what you want! No, go! Please, no!
Okay, that was no joke. That was RATTER, and it's okay. I just don't think it was meant for me. RATTER is a more than competently assembled movie that understands how to make people uncomfortable. Since the first time Mom let us wander off without supervision, we've been told not to trust strangers. The thought of someone we don't know intruding on our home is terrifying. And this movie shows an intruder doesn't even have to be present anymore to invade every aspect of our lives. That to me is probably the scariest thing about the film. The control this complete stranger was able to take over Emma's life, monitoring her every movement and screening her every action. That said, I think most of this control came from dumb luck. Emma reiterating both her phone number and her home address on video, all of her important calls going to voicemail and being screened before she could hear them, approaching and kidnapping her without one person spotting him. Not to mention, I know very little about hacking, but if it was so easy to break into every system of every gadget in a person's life, it could be done in hours or minutes. A lot more men would be having their browsing histories leaked after they failed to pay. I think both God and the writer was rooting for the stalker in this movie. Or no one did any research. Some people have praised the film for bringing attention to the contemporary issue of online privacy and the risks of having an online presence, but not only do I think these warnings came 10 years too late, portraying the risks inaccurately does more harm than good. Yes, it's really easy for the truly dangerous to find people online by cyberstalking them, but ratting someone's webcam and phone is the act of a voyeur. The movie would have made more sense if Emma had been more careful not having a social media presence and forcing the stalker to get creative, Or, instead of waiting for her to spill her personal information to whoever listened, he could have done what real stalkers do and used the clues in her social media posts to find her. As a commentary, this film is equivalent to promoting the use of less paper to save the rainforest. It completely misses the mark. But as a thriller, I think it works pretty well, kind of. True enough, stalkers obsess over their victims, and needing to observe them 24/7 plays into that, before their obsession reaches a critical point and they need to act on it, in the worst cases leading to murder. From that perspective, this movie is perfect, as it captures the natural progression of the man's psychosis without him even being on screen most of the time. To portray a character's emotional state using nothing but edited video is an astounding achievement. Whenever a video cuts to black or zooms in or glitches, it's in response to what's happening on screen, letting you know what the man is thinking and feeling as he's watching it. It's incredible! But I think his behavior is contradictory. The man who enters Emma's home is calm and methodical, even if he's clearly sick, but the man controlling the video is emotional and rash. It's like they're two different people, which would have been an interesting angle for the movie to explore, but it doesn't. And while I understand where the horror comes from, I didn't actually think it was that scary. I'm no stranger to alienation, anxiety and paranoia, but I still found it difficult to put myself in Emma's situation. Maybe it's because the idea of being stalked is so far removed from my reality it doesn't even register, or maybe it's just how unrealistic it was, or maybe it's just how slow it was. While the film did an excellent job building tension, seeing it play out from the eyes of the stalker as he started reaching out towards Emma, about halfway through I was just getting bored. I also get the feeling the filmmakers were trying to emulate Paranormal Activity by allowing the stalker into Emma's apartment. It's not surprising, given how wildly successful Paranormal Activity was, but it still seemed a bit awkward to me. You could say the shadow play was an homage, or that he wasn't yet prepared to take her, but it still made the movie drag on without much happening. The only thing to keep me captivated after that was Emma's slowly crumbling mental state, which, I'm sad to say, much like real life, got really boring after a while. About its angle, it's a very interesting way of framing a movie. The entire film is shot from the bad guy's perspective, and I can't name a lot of movies that does that. Not without making them empathetic in some way. It's funny, the movies I can name that does that are all found footage movies, classics like Man Bites Dog or August Underground. Unfortunately, while I think it's a pretty good movie, I don't think it's quite as memorable as its inspiration. RATTER is a competently made movie, which is what I say when I don't like a movie but know it's actually pretty decent. With its slow burn story, convincing acting and a plot that will make you question whether using the same password twice was a good idea, I'm sure it has its audience somewhere, as there is a lot of power in a movie like this, but unfortunately, I am not among them. It makes several leaps in realism I found too distracting to believe, and while I can believe and especially horror cyberstalking could pan out like this, it wasn't very interesting to see. I sentence RATTER to a 7 on a scale of 11. And while I try not to listen to critics until after I've seen the movie they're talking about, it is always interesting to hear what other people think about the movies that I watch. For example, on IMDb it says that this film references Unfriended, in that it's filmed the same way and has the same plot devices, which I don't get. First of all, that's not how references work. Secondly, I can't think of many similarities to Unfriended at all. I mean, RATTER had an obsessed stalker, Unfriended had a vengeful ghost. RATTER was a very slow psychological thriller, Unfriended was in-your-face blood and gore. Well, I guess I will just have to watch Unfriended and compare the two. And its sequel, of course. Thank you all for watching. I have been Cool Scratches. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, watch my art channel, my DA, my Twitter, and I hope you will see me again next time to take another look at what I found.